talking about the housing levy ruling that was delivered yesterday. Now, the court has dismissed a petition challenging the constitutionality of the 1.5% affordable housing levy on claims it amounted to double taxation and discrimination. In a decision made by a three-judge panel, including Justices Olga Sewe, John Chingiti, and Josephine Mongare, the court dismissed a petition by Busia Senator Kiam Tata, activist Eliud Matindi, and the Katiba Institute, saying the levy was valid and aligns with the constitutional provisions.
The government has received a note from a three-judge bench to continue with the housing levy deductions.
The petitions as consolidated fail, and we have dismissed them.
Justices Olga Sewe, John Chingiti, and Josephine Mongare, in delivering the ruling, said there was sufficient public participation and due process was followed in establishment of the fund.
The Senate considered the public input, including incorporations of amendments that were subsequently adopted by the National Assembly. It shows that Senate gave proper weight to the contribution made by the public. This reflects professionality, ensuring that enough time and opportunities were provided for stakeholders to be heard and for their feedback to influence the process.
The judges emphasized that the levy is a crucial component of government strategy to tackle the country's housing deficit. They dismissed the petitioner's claims that the levy was discriminatory as unfounded.
It is our finding, therefore, that the purpose and effect of the Act is to promote and fulfill the constitutional duty of the state to provide housing in line with the decision of the Supreme Court. Section 3 and 4 are constitutional and do not in any way infringe Article 43(1)(b) of the Constitution.
The petitioners also contended that the Affordable Housing Act overstepped into areas reserved for county governments, particularly regarding housing and urban development, but the court ruled that the Act does not undermine devolution.
We also looked at each of the aspects of unconstitutionality as alleged, and we ruled that none of those provisions is in conflict with the Constitution.
This ruling follows 6 petitions challenging housing levy, with the plaintiffs arguing that the public had not been adequately consulted and that the law breached various constitutional provisions. The petitioners have since pledged to appeal the decision.
Now, it means that if the deductions are already being made on your pay slip, well, they're there to stay. Now, the 2024 Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education began Tuesday with 965,000 candidates registered for this year's national examination. This year's examination is taking place in 10,755 centers across the country. Now, today, candidates, or rather yesterday that is, they sat for their French, German, Arabic, sign language, music and home science oral examinations, and a visit by KBC Channel 1 to several schools in the country revealed a high level of preparedness, with head teachers noting all loopholes have so far been filled to ensure the integrity of the examination is safeguarded. Now, Joseph Wahungu brings us more details on the national examination that is currently underway.
This candidate is about to sit his French oral exam at Jamhuri High School in Nairobi. He is among 13 students who began their 2024 KCSE examination today. According to Jamhuri High School Principal Duncan Juma, 4 more candidates in this school sat their Arabic oral exam on Tuesday.
And Arabic is done. We had 4 candidates for Arabic, they are already done. And we have 13 students for French, and they will be through by around 1. And we want to believe they will do well.
Kenya Examination Council (NEC) also confirmed that German, sign language, music and home science will dominate the first week of this year's KCSE examinations. Jamhuri High School has over 200 KCSE candidates, and according to Juma, the candidates sitting KCSE this year in the school have been adequately prepared to register exemplary results devoid of malpractices.
This year we have a candidature of 267, up from 230 last year. And our projection this year is a mean of 8.0 plus.
Miles away in Kisii County, professionals from various fields in the region are questioning the smooth administration of the examination. They claim that the poor state of Nyamache Bridge in Babasi constituency could significantly derail transportation of exam materials.
We understand that the government, through the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, has set aside more than 20 million for the bridge construction. As at now, this has yet to start.
Tunataka kuona engineer amekuja kwa site so that our children, as they do the exams for the next 3 weeks, wanafunzi wetu wapate amani ya kufanya mtihani.
Wakati mtihani unapoanza, tunataka mkataba katika Wizara ya Elimu na Wizara ya Afya kuhakikisha kwamba wanaajiri maafisa wa afya wa kutosha.
Congratulations, because we believe you're all winners in as far as this exam is concerned. So continue doing what you have been doing. May God grant each and every student who is sitting for their exams peace of mind as they write those particular papers. Now let's shift focus on the story of the day yesterday, where the constitutionality of the establishment of a 3-judge bench by the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu on Saturday to hear the case in which impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is challenging his ouster will be known today in the afternoon. This is after the impeached Deputy President queried the legality of the Deputy Chief Justice in empaneling a 3-judge bench outside the judicial working hours, alleging a plot to deny him the right to fair trial. This comes as President William Ruto, in a petition filed by his lawyers, is challenging the jurisdiction of the High Court to hear the impeachment case by Gachagua, arguing legal matters touching on the presidency is a function reserved for the Supreme Court as per the Constitution.
Tuesday morning at Milimani Law Courts, the prosecution defense teams gathered before a 3-judge bench for what was expected to be an inter-party hearing of a case in which impeached DP Rigathi Gachagua is challenging his ouster.
Let things be done in a proper manner so that we do not send out the wrong signals, so that we do not send out the wrong perception that there is corruption going on in National Assembly, in the Senate, and in the judiciary.
In matters as fundamental as this, in a matter where we all agree that this is a defining moment for our country, we cannot afford to be casual about it. We cannot afford to be expedient about it. It's in matters where a question of principle arises, and of all the 3 organs of government, only one organ stands out for standing on principle: the judicial arm of government.
However, the hearing would temporarily be halted after Gachagua, through his battery of lawyers, queried the legality of the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu constituting a 3-judge bench. In their argument, they claimed the Deputy Chief Justice usurped the powers of the Chief Justice. Additionally, they alleged mischief in the manner in which the 3-judge bench was constituted on a Saturday outside the normal judicial hours, querying the urgency.
For the Deputy Chief Justice to have sat in the middle of the night on Friday, the 18th of October, was a gross irregularity.
That even the Gen Z were abducted, the substantive Chief Justice did not empanel a single bench to sit on Saturday or on Sunday. That is why but the context in which this matter must be viewed.
However, the lawyers acting on behalf of the respondents, including the National Assembly, the Senate, Attorney General, and Kithure Kindiki, among others, argued there was nothing peculiar.
In public interest, and given the extraordinary nature of this matter, Marot gives directions that this bench be constituted for purpose of determining the underlying question. Marot, the petitioner cannot probate and reprobate, can't speak on both sides of the mouth.
It is our submission that therefore the Deputy Chief Justice, who is the Deputy Head of the Judiciary, by dint of Article 161, Subarticle 2B, can exercise the functions of the Chief Justice.
Father Gashagua's team called on the three-judge bench, consisting of judges Eric Ogola, Anthony Murima, and Frida Mogambi, to accuse themselves from hearing the orders of the Kirugoya court that stopped the swearing-in of Professor Kithure Kindiki as the new deputy president. At the same time, President William Ruto, through his legal counsel Adrian Kamodho, wants the impeachment case referred to the Supreme Court, arguing the High Court lacks jurisdiction to hear the impeachment.
In a nutshell, I would wish that to point out that in a hurry to come to court, the petitioners even wrongly enjoined the sixth respondent, His Excellency the President, when Article 143(2) is clear that no civil proceedings can be instituted against the President.
The court would adjourn a few minutes after 7 p.m., with the judges pleading to give a ruling on Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. on whether the Deputy Chief Justice are in law and if they were properly constituted to hear the case.
Well, 3:30 p.m. this afternoon, KBC Channel 1 will be bringing you that particular hearing live from the High Court, where Ruth Wambui has been keeping tabs on the developments. Now, the government plans to register all 965,000 Form 4 students with a Maisha number to ease their transition into tertiary education. Appearing before the National Assembly Education Committee, Immigration Principal Secretary Professor Julius Bitok says the strategy is to ensure that when the students get to 18 years, they're facilitated to get the cards, which will be then integrated with relevant government agencies. He also informed the committee that the ministry has enhanced the issuance of identification documents and reduced the periods for production to less than 10 days.
As Form 4 students across the country started their final exams, the National Assembly Education Committee invited Immigration's Principal Secretary, Professor Julius Bitok, to explain measures his department was taking to issue the students with identification documents as they prepare to join colleges. PS Bitok indicated the government was in the process of issuing all the candidates with Maisha number that will be generated into Maisha card once the holder attains the age of 18.
As we speak right now, and when this problem of university students came up, we decided to prioritize issuance of cards to people who are completing school. Those are NPS.
The new version of identification document, known as Maisha Card, contains biometrics of the holder in a chip that is integrated with other databases of the entire government. The PS says new applicants will have to pay 300 shillings, while Kenyans seeking to replace old ID cards will pay 1,000 shillings.
We no longer need to fill any forms. We no longer need to fill anything. You just go to Huduma Center for your biometrics. You do it on your phone. You go to Huduma Center, and then you get your card within 10 days. Even for the frontier counties who initially felt that they were discriminated, right now without vetting them, they also get the IDs without any discrimination.
The government projects at least 20 million Kenyans will have upgraded their ID cards to Maisha cards in 5 years.
You have heard of people whose land is transferred. Somebody picks somebody's ID, they change the picture and do that kind of thing. You have heard of people who withdraw other people's money from their account. You have heard people who do what you call sweep subs. But with the new generation, third generation ID, you can't do that because the biometrics and the information about the person is in the chip. When you present it to a bank, they can look at the chip and they know the ID is not yours.
The professor says the department has enhanced the production of IDs by reducing the waiting period to less than 10 days.
Now, the latest digital report by GSMA indicates that lowering taxes, increasing investment in improving quality of service, affordable devices, and stimulating the additional demand for digital services are key to driving up digitization and financial inclusion in Kenya. Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Margaret Ndongo says an increase in digital adoption could add productivity to agriculture and industry by at least 3%.
The latest digital report by GSMA indicates that mobile internet connectivity has improved over the last decade, with most of the country now covered by 3G and 4G network. The report says coverage of 5G network is about 6% of the population and is expected to reach 99% by the year 2030.
Despite this impressive growth, there is an ongoing usage gap. So those living within the footprint of mobile internet connectivity but not using it. And often those most impacted are those in rural communities or other disadvantaged groups.
The report says 52% of the unconnected people cite affordability as a barrier to mobile internet adoption, with 16% of the respondents citing lack of digital skills, and 11% of them are concerned about safety and security concerns.
Access to technology and usage of the same is not a luxury, is one of the basic things, because we are digitizing and we expect them to access services through this technology.
From smallholder farmers using mobile apps to track weather patterns and access global value chains, to small businesses reaching consumers beyond their area through e-commerce platforms. Smartphones are what enable people to participate in the economy in ways that were previously unimaginable.
The report recommends tax restructuring of mobile services and mobile money, device affordability, and stimulating additional demand for digital devices to drive uptake.
Take note of the issue of taxation and the impact it has had. And again, these are areas we can discuss and see how best to position our country to continue being the leader in this area.
We look at all these policy reforms that are proposed in the report. By 2028, if we do adopt those reforms, we should add 10 million internet users in the next 4 years.
She says technology adoption is key in increasing productivity in agriculture and other key sectors.
Now, engineers want procurement laws reviewed to earmark at least 40% of public-private partnership projects for locals to build capacity within the country. The Institution of Engineers of Kenya President Engineer Shama Kiteme says local engineering firms are often edged out of projects by foreign firms. Public-private partnerships have been embraced in Kenya to bridge funding challenges, especially for key infrastructure projects. However, engineers feel they are not reaping from the multi-billion shillings projects.
To succeed, we need to take care of welfare of engineers. More engineers need to be recruited in various state departments, in counties and sagas. But also, where they are recruited, they need to be compensated fairly.
To correct this, engineers are calling for a review of procurement laws to ring-fence at least 40% of work for local engineers in all public-private partnership projects.
Basically, the problem is at the developer side. We are also working to make sure that counties, during the approval process, we have licensed engineers involved in the approval process, and we do not have quacks involved in the construction of buildings.
Engineers argue that this will standardize transparency, contracts, labor practices, and increase a thriving engineering pool.
From school to a professional engineer, there has been challenges, and all of you here are witnesses. And I've been engaging with the bodies, IEK, EBK, to see and mentor and ensure those engineers have internships that help them transition from graduates to professional engineers in due time.
Engineers are also calling for fair compensation of local engineers, citing bias in non-practicing allowance and risk allowance in other professions that is not factored while dealing with engineers. To sports now, where the government is expediting the construction of sports academies in the country. Sports Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen said the setting up of the academies will enhance the tapping and grooming of sport talent. He affirmed this when he rewarded the national under-20 soccer team, the Rising Stars, 1.8 million shillings yesterday after their outstanding performance in Dar es Salaam, where they qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations for the very first time.
The Sports Ministry is set to construct a total of 30 sports academies whose centres will be based in schools. The government projects to build a total of 290 centres in 4 years.
We had advertised some sports academies a few weeks ago, but we sat down again to relook at the designs together with our school of TVET, and we have come up with prototypes, designs that now will be standardized. And we will have at least a sports academy in the next 3 to 4 years. We'll have a sports academy in every constituency.
To ensure that the project succeeds, relevant government bodies have been asked to embrace technology so as to effectively carry out their mandate.
We cannot use analog methods forever of scouting young players. We are willing, and I've told them to come with a clear proposal on the available technology in the world that can assist our country to scout the best talents and to make sure that we showcase those skills to other entities in the world.
Meanwhile, the national under-20 soccer team, which secured their qualification to the under-20 Africa Cup of Nations finals, have called for adequate preparations ahead of the continental finals, which will be held in South Africa in 2025.
They have to look for a suitable country where you can go and camp without distractions, with a similar environment, so that these boys then can gel and be able to give their best. Also, we are looking to play quality friendlies.
Rising Stars booked their ticket after they finished first runners-up in the just-ended Sekafa Under-20 regional qualifiers to host Tanzania, who beat them in the final, and will be eyeing a marked performance in the showpiece, with the Sports CS assuring the team of the government support. The team was today awarded with 1.8 million shillings for their effort. Kenya is set to debut at the Age Group Championship, marking another milestone in Kenya's soccer history after the Junior Starlets qualified for their first ever FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup finals.
Our expectations remains high. Of course, we have qualified, and we are going to the next step, knowing that if we have good time for preparation, you guys should expect something good from us again, because we don't have any reasons to not qualify for the World Cup.
As a team tulikuwa tumeset goal na the first goal ilikuwa qualify for the AFCON. Of course tumesikia ni the first time under 20 tuna qualify for AFCON, so ilikuwa poa, kila mtu alikuwa happy.
So we are much happy for that because ni si kitu rahisi, alafu ukiangalia kwa age yetu since before tuzaliwe si ndo wa kwanza kuqualify, so tuko happy sana.
Meanwhile, the Junior Starlets will be targeting to complete their group matches at the ongoing FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup on a high when they take on Mexico in their final Group C match in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic on Thursday.
Ndio watu wamekuwa hard, pia sisi tumekuwa hard kidogo, but hatukuwa hard kabisa, but wacha niseme tu kwa hii game ya Mexico tunaenda kujaribu kugive our best.
Tunaenda kukufa nayo juu hii ndio game yenye tumebaki nayo, na nazaambia Kenyans to this our last match, hatuendi kuwa disappoint, tunarudi na 3 points
from the first game. Tunaenda kupeana tena 100% juu tunajua pia Mexico si timu rahisi, juu timu kufika World Cup wenyewe si rahisi, na kwangi imewaka kabisa.
Kenya lost the opening 2 matches when they went down 2-0 to England and 3-0 to North Korea, who have already secured their quarter-final berths.